It's now time for another episode of BU Now TV, bringing the now to BU in a short video webcast.
Hi guys, I'm Katie Hokertl here for BU Now TV, and I'm with the Mayor of Bloomsburg, Dan Knorr. Gonna ask him a few questions about Block Party, guys, so let's see what he has to say. So my first question for you is, what would you say is your overall opinion of the Block Party?
Well, I have a bit of a unique perspective because I was a student here from 2003 to 2007, so I definitely have seen Block Party from both sides, and I know that, you know, from the student's perspective, it definitely can be a relaxing time, a good time with friends. You know, spring is finally here and sort of a chance to relax and let loose. From the town's perspective, getting on town council, now I'm in my second term as mayor. You know, for us, it is expensive as far as the enforcement of it. It takes a lot of man hours, a lot of equipment. Right. We certainly have a sense of responsibility to students that, you know, live here and make this their home for a few years. So trying to make sure it stays a safe event is a challenge. So I guess my overall impression is that it's a big challenge, and it's very hard to balance that, you know, letting people have fun, but then also making sure that it doesn't get out of control.
Right. So there's pros and cons of it.
Right.
Yeah. Were you actually aware that there's an open house? There was an open house on Bloomsburg, on their campus. Do you think that is something that shouldn't have been done? Like, because do you think the parents would be okay with that? Or
yeah, for some reason they've done that. The university, I think, has held an open house every year. They usually do on weekends. I really think they should skip that weekend. It doesn't it doesn't give an accurate, you know, representation of what, for the most part, the town is like and the student body. You don't want somebody to think that this is something that happens every weekend.
Right.
But that's up to the university to decide.
Yeah, true.
My advice would be maybe skip that weekend.
So. Were you actually in the town of Bloomsburg for the Block Party, or were you somewhere else?
No, I was. I stick around. I don't have a lot of direct involvement. My job is just oversight of the police department. If there's any major incidents. You know, I drive around just to get a sense of how things are going and, you know, what the crowd is like. But for the most part, I just try to enjoy my weekend and stay out of the way. Yeah.
So in terms of Block Party this year, how do you think it went overall?
It was very, very subdued, mostly because of the weather.
Right.
It was cold, rainy. Depending on your perspective, that's a good thing or a bad thing. But you know, we were happy that it at least kept numbers down and sort of kept a lid on things that didn't get too out of hand. So it was very, compared to past years, it was really almost a non-event this year.
Right. Well, that kind of ties into my next question. Are there any specific experiences that you kind of went through with Block Party that really stick out to you in any way?
We had a particularly a little worse of a year in 2007, and that was, I was just a council member at the time, but we really had a lot of people in Fetterman Avenue behind Fraternity Row that year. We had a lot of property damage. We ended up having to clear out Fetterman Avenue with a line of police, and I mean, everything, you know, stayed pretty calm, but it was definitely on the edge. And I know that with a lot of the people that are on council now, that year definitely had an effect in the sense that our existing ordinance sort of grew out of that year in trying to limit the amount of people that are at any individual party. And just in general, the experience we've had, it's sort of a learning curve for us too. As we see problems, we try to address them. You know, every year we had a lot of problems with trash, with public urination. And so out of that grew the part of the ordinance where if you're going to have a party of over 150 people, you know, you have to provide sanitation, you have to provide dumpsters, you have to give a cleanup time for the next morning. So it's sort of been a, you know, we try to respond as we see issues arise.
Right, and that kind of maybe did a little bit of like a learning experience for the next year
to
come, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming in and talking.
No problem.
And yeah, thanks guys. Bye.